Alright folks, this is a quick review of the SOG Flash MT multi-tool. I bought this particular one used on eBay because, looking around, I was just sort of trying to find a happy medium between a small pliers-based multi-tool like this original Leatherman PST that I like to carry from time to time, and a knife-based multi-tool like this Victorinox Compact. And I kind of trade off between these two styles of multi-tool for my EDC, and this one kind of looked like it might cut just the right middle ground between the two styles. So when I look at the size of it in terms of the length, it's about the same here as the PST, if I put it like so, and it's a little bit bigger than a standard 91 millimeter Victorinox. It is certainly a little bit thicker in the pocket than either of these two, but it does come with a rather very nice deep pocket clip, which is unfortunately, in my opinion, probably the best thing about this tool. Now, it's not a bad tool, it's just not working out the way that I kind of hoped that it would. So let me just sort of walk you through that and tell you exactly why I'm probably going to be selling this on to somebody else, because maybe it'll work for them better than it works for me. So as you can see, I carry these two tools on a dangle clip in my pocket, and that works out pretty well for me. They're pretty decent. This is obviously a lot lighter than this, but this has just a really nice smooth shell. It fits in a pocket really well. It kind of disappears. So it's a little bit heavier than I would ideally like, but it works fine. This is great, but even though it has really wonderful scissors, which actually neither of these other ones have, sometimes, you just need a little pair of needle nose pliers, right? And those are actually really good on this Flash MT. So they're, I would say on par certainly with this. I don't think there's any issue with them. They've got the hard wire cutters, the bypass soft wire cutters. Obviously you're not going to get replaceable wire cutters on something of this price, which I believe is somewhere around 70 bucks if you look for one new. I got mine for a little less than that, around $40. SOG's gimmick with the gear system, with the blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that does anything, but it's fine, right? So you have all of that, which is fine. And the promise of this is that that comes with just the minimum number of tools you need for your EDC. So that would be this blade, which is an assisted opening. That's one of the issues. But it's a good blade. It's D2 steel. It's a good size in terms of the blade. And if everything else was good about it, it would actually work out really good, comparatively to, say, that one or to a Vic knife, right? It's a little bit deeper of a blade, comes to a point. Nothing wrong about the actual blade geometry. But where it starts to fall apart is with that assisted opening, because that sucks. It really doesn't work well at all. I don't like the idea of an assisted opening, but you can see it almost always jams up. Now, I've had this multi-tool apart twice now. I've cleaned everything, I've oiled everything, I've tuned the tension on the pins there, and nothing is going to make this reliably open and lock in place. It just doesn't work. Maybe this one's a dud, I don't know. But I have a feeling that this assisted opening mechanism is just not a very good one. And I think assisted openings are just bad in general, because it just makes the whole thing a little bit more dangerous. You have to have it locked. It doesn't lock unless you push down on it. So you have to make sure that thing locks all the way. And then when it's not locked, it takes a lot of effort to open, because it's being pushed by the liner lock, which is actually quite a lot of pressure. It just makes it really hard to open. And it's got this thumb stud, which I just don't like thumb stud. They make it hard to sharpen, hard to use, but this one is really rough, and you got to push on it a lot. It's just very uncomfortable to use in practice. Not only that, when you have it locked and you have the pliers open, you actually often are putting your palm right on top of that lock, and it's so easy. I just unlocked it just by using the pliers, and now this knife could, shoot out in pliers mode and get you. That is just stupid. All right, I don't like that at all. It's got also has to have this plastic bit in here because the spring mechanism for the assisted opening lives in there. That means there's plastic now on the pivot barrel, and when you get to the other tools, which we'll talk about now, that means there's no actual back spring for this cap lifter screwdriver, and so it's just really loose. There's a little ball bearing in the plastic, which you might be able to see back in there, I don't know, and a couple of divots on the metal itself to hold it supposedly. Supposedly this is like you can do one of those like the Vic does, but the Vic does it with an actual back spring, so it really stays in there. And this one is just loose as heck, just really dumb. All right, so I mean, it's there, it's not great. I wouldn't put much confidence in it. The other attractive thing about this is it has a built-in magnetic 4mm bit driver, but the bit is stored in the handle like so. And while that's okay, the way you get it out is you have to actually bend this sort of rubbery plastic thing, and that's going to fail. I mean, it's going to either at least pop out and you're going to lose that holder. And you get one double-sided bit, 4mm. You know, they pick kind of a small size, but whatever. That's not here, there, nor there, because you could probably get another one of these okay. And then it's supposed to, there's a magnet in here, so you're supposed to be able to put it like that, and then you close it, and then you use it. And that's actually pretty cool. It's a good compromise, except there's very little reach if you're trying to get into something. And again, you're dealing with 4mm bits, so they're kind of small. And I could live with that if it wasn't really flimsy to store it in the handle here. And of course, you can only store one of them in this design. And so you're kind of stuck with whichever bit you decide to take with you that day, unless you want to bring a whole other deal. The other thing is that you have to actually be gripping this to keep this in there. If you don't grip it, it gets loose and can come out, okay? So you got to actually put some pressure down on the bit driver while you're trying to screw things in. And if you let go of that and you just try and spin it freely, the bit can come out. The driver bit can come out pretty easily. All right. So there's a lot of issues here. Having the external blade is fine, but the assisted opening and the plastic here making this thing just kind of useless really sucks. And it gets pretty thick because of this additional, you know, for the outside opening tool. It actually makes the whole thing a little bit thicker than, you know, compared to an additional tool. So in my opinion, you know, it's kind of cool. It's got a little style to it. I like the colors. I don't like the plastic. The size, you know, the weight is about the same as this PSD, so you're not really saving anything there. The really deep pocket carry clip, again, is the best thing. It fits in the pocket very nicely. But then I'm worried about this stupid blade opening up inside there, even if I think I have it locked. And ergonomically, it's not the nicest thing to hold in your hand. Let's just be honest with that. When you're using the knife, there's just a lot of things that can dig into your hand. It's fine, but it's definitely not nearly as comfortable as this, right? And it's not even as comfortable as this when I have the blade out, which actually, despite the fact that the blade, like all interior closing multi-tools, kind of has this in front of it, this is actually really comfortable to hold and to use, right? The same thing with this. It opens up and it's really comfortable to hold and to use. This one, yeah, better steel, bigger, slightly deeper blade, even though it's shorter. It sucks. I'm sorry to say that. For me, it's too many compromises. It's a B+, maybe a B+, and I need to have something that's at least an A- in my pocket if it's going to stay. If they went back to the drawing board, maybe they could come up with some solutions to the problems here. But for me, the problems outweigh the benefits. And with the strip back tool set that you get, there's just not enough benefit to this tool for me to want to have it in the rotation. And I'm going to stick going back and forth between these two for now.